Which player will each NFL team pick in the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft? What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here with my one and done predictive mock draft for the 2023 NFL Draft. These are not predictions, these are spoilers. Absolutely my best guess at what your team is going to do, which player your team will target in the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft. If you want to know what I would do as the general manager of each team, I've already made that mock draft, so go check it out. These are my predictions. It's not what I would do, it's what I think will happen on Thursday night. What will go down? Before I get started, Gronk spike the like button and let me know in the comments section below your best guess for what will go down on Thursday night during the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft. Let's begin with the first pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. Everybody knows by now that the Carolina Panthers are selecting Bryce Young. Bryce Young is the guy that they believe they can play from day one and have success with. Frank Reich is sick of the veteran quarterback. He wants a young playmaker who's very intelligent and can lead on and off the field. Bryce Young is that guy. With the second overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans, they might go quarterback, but I think it's likely they go defense. And I believe their top edge rusher on their board is Tyree Wilson of Texas Tech. Yes, I believe that Tyree Wilson is their pick at number 2. There's been a lot of reports that they believe he is in the image of what the 49ers have had at the edge position in a guy like Nick Bosa. The length, the athleticism, the bend, the rare traits that DeMeco Ryans can mold into one of the best pass rushers in football. They could go Will Anderson here, but I think Wilson will be the pick. With the third overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals will desperately attempt to trade out of this pick, but I believe that if they do not trade out of this pick, they're going to select tackle Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State. Yes, I think the rumors that Kyler Murray really likes Paris Johnson, and it's not really a rumor, it's fact. I believe that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to invest in Kyler Murray. They're going to protect Kyler Murray with Paris Johnson, and I do believe that they could also go Will Anderson here, but I think the importance of this franchise really is about Kyler Murray. So I think they invest in Kyler Murray and they get him some protection at tackle. With the fourth overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts, they're picking a quarterback. Everybody knows that. The only question is which quarterback. And the more I hear, the more it feels like it's Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, and I really do believe that they like Will Levis. I think that Will Levis has a lot of traits that you can buy into. Of course, he feels like he has those leadership, confident qualities off the field to lead the huddle. He's got a strong arm. If you can fix some of his mechanics and his accuracy, there is that opportunity for high upside. I think Will Levis is pro-ready. He just needs some things to be tweaked with his game. And I could see somebody buying into the fact that he may have more upside than CJ Stroud. It feels like the Colts, they could go with any three of these quarterbacks. I think ultimately it will be Will Levis. I'm buying him at number 4. With the fifth overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, I believe this is where Will Anderson will be selected by the Seattle Seahawks. I could have went with Jalen Carter here. That was definitely a consideration. But Will Anderson does fit the more primary need for Seattle. I think edge is a bigger need than interior defensive line right now. I also think that, yes, Seattle is willing to take some chances on prospects. We know this, but they've also had some of those prospects backfire on them. And I believe they want a guy that's with strong character. And that's Will Anderson. There's no questions about that. He also, I feel, fits in Seattle's scheme better than he fits in a majority of schemes. I think his ability to play in games and stunts up front is going to really allow him to succeed and make an immediate impact in the NFL. Seattle's also a team that wants to win right away, so taking Will Anderson does make a lot of sense at number 5. With the 6th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, I have the Detroit Lions taking Jalen Carter of Georgia. I think this is where Carter stops the slide. I think Detroit is willing to take a chance on this guy. I think Dan Campbell is a big fan, and I think that the interior defensive line is a much greater need than the edge position. I think they're going to take defense, but if Carter is still there, they go with him over maybe even Will Anderson. But I also believe they'll go with him over a Devin Witherspoon at cornerback. I think he's a game-changing 3 technique in the interior versus the run, where they really need to get better. And he also makes an impact as a pass rusher. He will have an awesome combination with Aiden Hutchinson up front. So I really like Jalen Carter to the Lions. With the 7th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders. I've heard they could go tackle here. They could go with Peter Skoronsky, but I'm going to go with Devin Witherspoon, the cornerback out of Illinois. It has been reported that they do really like Devin Witherspoon, and I just can't see the front office with the Raiders not looking at their defense last year and addressing this defense with their first pick. I understand that offensive line is a very Patriot-esque maneuver in the early first round, and that has a lot of history to it, trust me. But cornerback's also a position that they value. They need a guy that can play at a bunch of different positions, whether it's inside or outside. And I think Witherspoon has that classic Raider mentality that they've been missing on their roster. So I really like Devin Witherspoon as a fit with the Raiders. With the 8th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons are going to shock the NFL and select Texas running back Bijan Robinson. I just feel like there's too much smoke surrounding Bijan to the Atlanta Falcons. And honestly, if I was an Atlanta fan, in this draft in particular, I wouldn't be overly upset if we picked Bijan Robinson. Look, he's going to be an elite running back in the NFL. He's going to be one of the best in the NFL for a long time. And Atlanta does love to run the football. So I believe that they're going to give Desmond Ridder some help at running back in this first round. Could they go with a corner here? Could they go with an edge rusher here? Yes. But I think the way the board is looking here, Bijan Robinson will be the selection. Arthur Smith gets a powerful, explosive runner at number 8. With the 9th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select right tackle Darnell Wright of Tennessee. I actually said this would be my pick, and I'm starting to believe it's going to be the pick. Skoronski's been a popular choice, but I believe he's a guard in the NFL, and I think a lot of NFL teams believe he's a guard in the NFL. And I think Chicago wants a tackle, and I think Chicago wants a right tackle even more specifically. So I think Darnell Wright is the choice. There's a lot of smoke around him going to Chicago. He's a very good pass blocker. He will help Justin Fields from day one. And he also has enough movement ability to impact the running game. So I have Wright to the Bears. With the 10th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles. They may try to trade up for Jalen Carter, but because he doesn't slide past 6, I believe they stay put at number 10. Bijan Robinson is no longer on the board. They could go with an edge like Nolan Smith here, but I'm seeing a lot of smoke surrounding Peter Skoronsky of Northwestern. So I believe that's going to be the selection. I think they're going to go with an offensive lineman or just line of scrimmage in general. I think the Eagles value offensive line more than any team in football. And this is somebody that they believe to be potentially an all-pro at guard in the future. And if you can get an all-pro at the 10th overall pick, no matter the position, I think you've got to take it. And he can play potentially right tackle down the road if Lane Johnson does retire. Jason Kelce is also set to retire soon. So one of their other guards is going to have to move to center to their natural position. You could slot in him at the guard position. So I think it makes sense to add some young playmaking ability to that offensive line at the number 10 position. Just some versatility for tackle or guard in the future. With the 11th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans have a quarterback slide right into their laps. And I'm not so sure that this guy, you won't have to trade up to get him, but I do believe this is the team that will select C.J. Stroud of Ohio State. I think Mike Vrabel has his ties to Ohio State. He has all of those people in the building that he's familiar with, right? Not only did he play there, but he also coached there. So he's got some good ties inside that organization. And I think Mike Vrabel is going to pound the table for C.J. Stroud to be his future quarterback of this team. Extremely accurate. I think Mike Vrabel believes in the size, the accuracy, the arm strength, the vertical ability of his offense. I think C.J. Stroud fits everything that Mike Vrabel would want for his football team and his offense, and he could take Ryan Tannehill's spot, maybe even this year, but at least next year. It has also been reported that they've given up on the quarterback they selected last year. So I feel that Tennessee might make a play for somebody like C.J. Stroud. With the 12th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, there is one quarterback remaining that everyone thinks is going to go high in this draft, and the Houston Texans, it is said to believe that they like Will Levis and Anthony Richardson more than C.J. Stroud. So they could get Anthony Richardson at number 12, because I do believe one of these guys is going to slide outside of that top 10 at least. And I think Anthony Richardson is most likely due to his rawness. He's just very raw, and I think you're going to have to sit him potentially for some time, or you're going to have to be willing to allow him to grow on maybe not the best team, right? So I think Houston is in a position where they have a lot of guys from the front office of San Francisco. Clearly, they were enamored with the physical ability of Trey Lance. I think there's still some of that with Anthony Richardson here, where they really want to buy into that potential of what a dual threat quarterback can offer their offense. So I think Anthony Richardson fits the mold of what DeMeco Ryans and this franchise and Nick Caserio is looking for in their franchise quarterback. Huge ceiling, and you don't even really have to move anywhere to get him at number 12. With the 13th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, it's hard for me to believe that the Green Bay Packers are actually going to go with the popular selection of a wide receiver at this pick. But when you think about why they chose to trade the 15th pick to move up to the 13th pick in that Aaron Rodgers deal, you have to think that the Patriots being at 14 had something to do with it. And I think it had something to do with the fact that they want to secure Jackson Smith-Njigba, which is the pick that I had them selecting if I was the general manager for their team, because I really like his fit and his immediate impact in the NFL from the slot position. I also love how he projects to complement Christian Watson. I think he has route running extraordinary talents, and he's quick. He's great after the catch. I think he's really going to help Jordan Love get him going in his NFL career. With the 14th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Patriots are probably not going to go wide receiver. As much as we want them to go with wide receiver, I think they could think about tackle. I think they'd think about edge, but I think they're going to go with a corner. And the question is, do they go with Deonte Banks from Maryland, or do they go with the guy that's sliding down the board, Christian Gonzalez of Oregon? And I'm going to go with the guy that's projected to go higher in the draft. He's got great size, fluid hips, all the tools that Bill Belichick can mold into the next Stephon Gilmore. So I have Christian Gonzalez being the selection at number 14, a guy that just falls into the lap of the Patriots and Bill Belichick at number 14. With the 15th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New York Jets, they're going to pick a tackle. I just don't see how they pick any other position here. They're still going to be in position after trading back and getting Aaron Rodgers. They want to protect him here. I think they go with Jones of Georgia. He's a big dude. I think he's got enough movement skills. He's a definite animal in the run game, but he's a good pass blocker. He needs a little bit of refinement, but I think he can be a very good player with a lot of upside. He fits the mold of what the Jets are looking for. He's a pure tackle. I don't see them taking a chance on like a guard tackle type guy because they already got really good guards. So I think they're going to go with Jones at the right tackle spot for Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he even plays left tackle depending on what they do with Becton, but I think the Jets go with Jones at number 15. With the 16th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders could go with the cornerback position, but I'm actually going to stick with the pick that I had with my personal selection as the general manager of the Commanders. I think they're going to go with a tight end, and I personally think it's going to be Dalton Kincaid. I think this is a really strong tight end class, and I think at least one of these guys is going to be picked in the top 20. So I think Washington is the one that makes the most sense. Surround Sam Howell with a ton of talent. Give Eric Bieniemy another weapon, a guy that has been compared to a Travis Kelce type of player, somebody that's very pro-ready in terms of reading zone coverages and finding the soft spots in the zone coverage. I think Dalton Kincaid can be a very good tight end in this league from a receiving standpoint. I think he fits this current Washington regime and offense. I think they go with a guy that can impact the passing game here at number 16. With the 17th overall selection in the 2023 NFL Draft, some may view this as a little bit of a reach, but the Steelers have been known to go with need over anything else, and they don't really so much care about if it looks like a reach. So I'm going to go with Anton Harrison here, the right tackle. They need a tackle. That's clear and obvious. With Paris Johnson going really high and all of these guys being moved up the board because of it, Harrison is forced to go a little bit higher than most people project. But I think there's some thought in the NFL right now to make Steelers fans feel better that he's as good, if not better, than some of the tackles that will go above him. So I think the Steelers get a guy that can start right away at the tackle position and protect Kenny Pickett. With the 18th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions already have Jalen Carter on the interior. That is their defensive line pick. Now I believe they need to go with a secondary selection. I think Deonte Banks is an absolute stud. In my opinion, he's a top 10 player in this draft class from a talent standpoint. He falls to them right here. I think the belief in the NFL is that he goes in the top 20. So I think this is a perfect landing spot right here. He's great in man coverage, great in press coverage, has a little bit of an attitude, great tackler. Very good speed. I think he can be a Marshawn Lattimore type of player. He has very similar skill set here for the Lions at number 18. With the 19th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have to think of a couple things. They obviously need to upgrade that defensive front seven. The linebacker position is getting a little bit older, and with Devin White potentially wanting to get traded, they need to think about a guy that can potentially impact their defense in a couple different ways. And I had them picking Nolan Smith, and with Nolan Smith still on the board here, I thought he would go earlier in my mock draft. I'm going to go with Nolan Smith. I know that it's the same pick for both mocks, but I just really like it. I feel like he has enough strength and power to hold up on the edge and set the edge in the run game. I think he's got really, really good bend, which allows him to have a lot of upside at the next level as a pass rusher. I'm sure Shaq Barrett can teach him a thing or two. And then on top of that, he's fast enough, athletic enough to drop back in coverage in Todd Bowles' scheme where he blitzes a lot. He plays a lot of zone blitz style defense. And then he can also play middle linebacker and blitz up the middle and do things that Devin White does at an elite level. So I think Nolan Smith just makes a ton of sense for those reasons. With the 20th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, I have the Seahawks picking Will Anderson earlier in the draft. I now want them to select a player at corner, and I think Joey Porter Jr. is a great selection for them. He has the length, the height, the size, and good speed to really fit the mold of what Seattle looks for at perimeter corner. And him and Tariq Woolen on the outside, that's twin towers. That's Richard Sherman, Brandon Browner type of stuff. I think Seattle knows how to minimize those type of corners' ability to kind of play horizontally, allows them to play linear, and I think that's what Joey Porter does very, very well. He's super physical. I think that's exactly what Seattle is looking for here in the 20th spot. With the 21st overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers could go with a wide receiver here. I was thinking about Zay Flowers for the Chargers, but ultimately, Brandon Staley is a defensive coach. I think he realizes that they need to get better on the defensive line. And KALIJAH KANCEY is still sitting here out of Pittsburgh, who is the second best interior defensive lineman in this class. He's got incredible hands. He looks like a player, and potentially even plays like a player that Brandon Staley coached with the Rams, Aaron Donald. Some compare him to a Geno Atkins. I think we've seen this type of player succeed in Brandon Staley's scheme. And I think Kancey can be a guy that impacts the passing game as an interior rusher and also has the power to hold up in the running game. I think he's a great fit for the Chargers defense. With the 22nd pick, the Los Angeles Chargers did not pick Zay Flowers, so the Baltimore Ravens are jumping for joy that they can get another weapon for Lamar Jackson and talk him into coming back and signing a contract with Zay Flowers out of Boston College. I understand that they signed Odell Beckham Jr. and Nelson Aguilar, and that it's likely they go with a corner, but I don't see any on the table that really are enticing for me, so I'm going to take Zay Flowers, who's a hybrid weapon. He can play on the slot outside. He's got speed. He's got quickness. He's got great lateral agility. He is an awesome route runner at all three levels. He's going to open up the defense, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was the best receiver on the team from day one. You just get Lamar another weapon, and you solve this weapon fiasco once and for all. With the 23rd overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings, I had going with an interior defensive lineman as the general manager, but I could see them going with a receiver here in the real NFL Draft. I think Jordan Addison makes a lot of sense for the Vikings. They lost Adam Thielen. They don't really have a great number 2. KJ Osborne is more of a number 3 in my opinion. Jordan Addison fits the mold of a receiver that they would like. Very good route runner, very savvy, kind of understands how to get open, has been very productive on 2 different teams in college. I think Jordan Addison would make a perfect number 2 to Justin Jefferson for the future. With the 24th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jags, this fit just is too enticing for me to pass up. I like Brian Branch to Jacksonville. I know I made that my pick the last time as well, but it just makes too much sense. It solves 2 needs for them, safety and nickel corner. He's a playmaker at both spots. I think ultimately he's a better nickel corner in the NFL, but he can play like nickel corner on a big third down passing situation. He can play safety on a rundown. He's got it all, man. He's very instinctual. He can see it all. He can play in zone or man. He can blitz. He can tackle well. He's just a very smart, high IQ football player that's going to help them in big moments in big games. With the 25th overall selection, the New York Giants feel like a team that everyone wants to pick an enticing, kind of fun playmaking position like wide receiver, maybe even cornerback, but it feels like they're going to go with something a little bit more meat and potatoes. So I'm going to go with O'Cyrus Torrence out of Florida, the guard. I think the Giants do need a lot of help on the interior offensive line. They didn't really address it during free agency. So I think this selection does make some sense here. It might be a different guard for them at this pick, but I think his ability in the run game, his ability to be physical and powerful, I think it does make sense for what the Giants are looking to do on the offensive line. With the 26th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys, I'm going with another one that I just really like. And there's been a lot of smoke around the Cowboys really liking Michael Mayer, the tight end. They also like Dalton Kincaid, but he's long gone. So I think Michael Mayer is the pick here. They could go with an edge rusher, but that's not necessarily a need like tight end is. They could go with an offensive lineman, but I don't really love any that are on the board at this moment. Who knows? But I like the tight end. I think Michael Mayer has an impact in every situation, in every personnel package. I think what his value comes from is the ability to be a blocker, the ability to be a slot receiver, the ability to go out wide, the ability to be a playmaker, but also a guy that's not a liability in any facet of the tight end position. So I think a lot of teams value that, including Dallas. I think they make him the pick in the first round. At the 27th overall selection, the Buffalo Bills are going to select a player that might be the Cole Strange of this year's draft. That is Cody Mauch. Yes, Cody Mauch of North Dakota State. I've heard that he's going to go in the first round. I've listened to a few people that are saying that he's probably going to go in the first round. So Buffalo is one of those teams that could use an interior offensive lineman, definitely get some protection for Josh Allen. And this guy is a tackle in college that projects to be an awesome guard in the NFL. So I think he's a lot like Cole Strange in a lot of different ways. A lot of people don't know who he is, but he's got a lot of upside physically. So I think this is a good pick for Buffalo because they do low-key need some offensive line help. With the 28th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, maybe I'm just being the fun guy right now, but Jahmyr Gibbs is going in the first round. Everyone is saying that. It's got to be the Bengals. I mean, unless it is the Bills, but I think it is the Bengals here. Like I said before, if Joe Mixon is going to be gone, you need to replace him with a guy that can play on all three downs. That's one of the things that the Bengals didn't like about Mixon so much, that he wasn't the best route runner, wasn't the best receiver, pass blocker, because they utilized Samaje Perine a lot. This is a guy that can do it all, and he fits the zone scheme very well if they want to go to that. He can do it all, man. Gibbs is one of my favorite players in this draft. He's elusive, he's fast, he has breakaway speed, home run ability. That's the type of running back you pick in the first round with the ability to be Alvin Kamara out of the backfield. I think this guy is special. I love the fit with the Bengals. With the 29th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, I desperately wanted to go with a different player because late in the round, there's a lot of different things that need to lead to this pick being the pick, but I'm sticking with Will McDonald. I just feel like he's going in the first round, so I needed to give him to somebody. He's going in the first round. I just didn't know who, and I feel like the Saints need defensive line. So Will McDonald, I feel like, is a good pick for them. As I've said before, he reminds me of Matthew Judon. He's got the long arms and he's got the bend that's rare for a guy with that length. So I really like this pick for any team that picks Will McDonald, but I think specifically for the Saints, who love their defensive linemen. With the 30th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Eagles supposedly really like Lucas Van Ness, and there's actually rumors of them picking him at number 10, but I could see him falling just like George Karlaftis did last year because they're similar players. People wonder if they have the bend, the athleticism to play edge rusher in the NFL. And despite their power and physicality, I think that could mean that they fall. So Lucas Van Ness, I don't think he's making it out of the first round like George Karlaftis, right, who fell all the way to the end of the first round last year. I think it's going to be a similar deal where a team gets a steal at the end of round one and everyone's like, how did this guy fall so far? So I think the Eagles are going to be that lucky team that ends up with Lucas Van Ness at number 30 when they might have selected him at number 10. And with the final pick in the 2023 NFL Draft first round, I am going with Quentin Johnston for the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, I believe the wide receiver out of TCU is going to be the selection. Now, I think they could go with a tackle, but I didn't really quite believe that DeJuan Jones would be the pick here when I said that I would pick him at this spot. I just don't know if the NFL values him that way in the first round. I think he's more of a second round pick. But I feel like the Chiefs also need a receiver. And if there is something that you worry about with this kid, it's his ability to release off the line of scrimmage and immediately have an impact winning as an X receiver in the NFL. And I think the Chiefs are incredibly creative with their scheme and getting the ball to their playmakers. So I think they could minimize his weaknesses early on and maximize his strengths, yards after catch, his size, his speed combination. They could maximize that early on, and then hopefully he can grow into a true number one for Patrick Mahomes. But I don't hate the idea whatsoever of the Chiefs adding a receiver at the end of round one here. That is my predictive mock draft, the one and only for the 2023 NFL Draft. Let me know your predictions for the first round in the comment section below. It's Mitch. Thank you for watching. Gronk, spike the like button and subscribe for more. Peace.